What's up, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions, and one of my favorite segments is back. That's right, the Hidden Gems segment is back, where I talk about 5 graphic novels that aren't that well known, don't get enough praise, or I just want to bring the people's attention. So, let's get started. Welcome back, everybody. So this is one of my favorite segments that kind of came to me about I think it's been a little over 3 years ago, where I didn't have a video planned. So I just went to one of my bookshelves and said, I'm just going to grab these 5 books and bring them to people's attention because I don't hear enough people talk about them. And that's where this originated from. And you all liked that list so much, you asked me to keep bringing it back, and then I brought it back monthly. Now, usually around the months of November, December, and January, where I have top 10 lists, top 20 lists, I try to put these off to the side and then bring them around back this time of year. So if this is your first time watching them, this particular segment, what I do is talk about books that I really enjoyed, whether it's because of the artwork or the story, and I really don't hear enough praises for, or people talk about them in general. Now, some of them could be out of print, or some of them are still in print, but you all I think I took a poll. I asked people, you all didn't care if they were in print or not. You just wanted me to talk about these particular books that not a lot of people talk about. Some of them you may have read. Heck, you may have read all 5 of these, so just keep that in mind. The only thing different I'm doing this time around is I'm adding timestamps in the description of the video as each book. As I go through each book. Now, that was something that was suggested to me, but if you all don't like that, if you still want to be surprised, then I guess don't look down there. It's up to you all. I'm just trying to change a couple of things. But before I go any further, always like to remind people to smash that like button. That is a very small thing you can do that goes a long way for us. And make sure to subscribe if you are enjoying these type of videos. Ring that bell for notifications to let you know when they're going live. And a big thank you to our patrons. Could not be making videos like this without you all. All right, let's say we get started. Jim Lives in the Mystery of the Lead Singer of The Doors and the 27 Club by Paolo Baron and Ernesto Carbonetti. This is published by Image Comics, and it is an all-in-one. However, I guess it's a middle chapter in a trilogy of books. The first one was called Paul is Dead, which is the story of Paul McCartney, and it's the Beatles. This one involves Jim Morrison, of course, the lead singer of The Doors. So it is one of these stories that is partially true, and then, of course, a lot of it is fiction, so keep that in mind. But I thought this one was pretty well crafted. I like the mystery. So it all starts off with an investigative reporter named Jackson, who is going to this little southern town in Italy. And in this little town, people are living past the age of 100. So he goes there to investigate and find out from the people that live there what is making them age slower, or how they're able to live so long. While he's there, he sees somebody on a boat and he freaks out because he thinks it's Jim Morrison. Now, the last message he sends to his dad is Jim Morrison is alive and he's hiding from the world in southern Italy. So his father goes to Italy to see what happened to his son because he never hears from him again. So about a week goes by, he's investigating where his son is, and this leads into a big mystery. Was that really Jim Morrison? And if so, who could keep him alive and why? And is he the only musician or superstar that is being kept away from the world? Is it really a secret society, or is it all just a hoax? What I will say, though, is don't expect things in here to go into actual facts about Jim Morrison's life. This is all a work of fiction, and it's more about the mystery as to what happened to Jackson and whether his dad can find him or not. And the beautiful painted artwork. Oh my gosh, it's so stunning. And I heard Paul is Dead is better, and that's one that I haven't read yet for some reason. I don't know why I haven't gotten around to it. And what I love about this book is that this has bloopers in the end. Like, they're actually filming a movie. And I thought that was such a nice touch because you don't see that often in comic books. Now, it's only available in trade paperback because it is an original graphic novel. And I would say this is probably rated teen or teen plus. Just to kind of give it a rating. But if you're a fan of mysteries and people that fake their deaths, then this is definitely for you. Or if you're a fan of The Doors, there you go. Next up is Darklight by Chad Culkin and Peter Kowalski. And this is published by Archaea Studios. This is only available in a hardcover. And this one here, I'd say it's another one that's rated teen plus. Now, The world building in this is what I really enjoyed about this book. It all starts off with the idea that we have used up all our resources here on Earth, so we're bouncing, we're leaving, we've used it up. Now it's time to find a new home. However, we find it really difficult, so we take a bunch of spaceships, and this particular story is about Captain Rhodes and his particular spaceship named the H.E. Wooden. Now, there is a prose-like story at the beginning that explains all this, where humanity is and how we've come across two different races. One of them being the cybernetic Luminids, who have pretty much given up their flesh and bone to become cybernetic beings. And one of the other races is called the Duron, who are organic beings that can kind of shift their bodies into weapons. Now, both of these races are at odds with each other. They've been fighting for years, and humans kind of just get in the middle of it. But when the universe is coming to an end, the human race must bring all these races together, well, all these races, the two races in here, to form an alliance and to find a way to find a home and to find a way to restore the universe or to find a new universe. And what I liked about it is during this particular time is Captain Rhodes has a chief officer that is a Duron, but she doesn't look like a Duron. She looks like a female human, and she is totally crushing on Tompkins, who is kind of like their medic, and they have a relationship together. And then also on the ship is this character named Andros, who, again, was a Luminid who gave up his life and is part of, kind of think of like the Borg, right? Like they are communicating with each other at the same time. But they form a pact to help out every alien race and humanity to try to save him, to try to save the universe. So something goes wrong whenever the science experiment happens that they were supposed to restore it. And I like the journey. I like where it goes. I like the twists and turns that it makes. I like that you're trying to figure out who betrayed them to make this plan go bad. And then if they ever get out of this, if they ever find a new home, and who ends up living and dying. So I thought it was a really good book. It is definitely incredibly ambitious for just a 4-issue arc. It does help to have that little prose part at the beginning, but I thought they did such a good job telling these stories, and I would love to see a continuation of the series to see where the characters are now. The art is pretty solid, and it really gets the job done, especially with the creatures and the spaceship designs. But again, that's why I added it to the list. I don't hear enough people talk about it, and I think it's such a sweet little spot for people that like sci-fi stories. And it's short. It's only 4 issues all collected in this hardcover. And I think it's only in hardcover right now. Orphan and the Five Beasts by James Stokoe. And this is published by Dark Horse Comics. This is probably the one on the list that a lot of people have probably talked about, or people have sang praises for, because it's James Stokoe. Like, when aren't people talking about his artwork? He's one of the most creative and amazing artists, meshing in this beautiful manga style that I love, like Katsuhiro Otomo style, with some American and European flair in there. I love his art. He did Godzilla, and he did this beautiful alien story. But this one was a lot of fun. It came out late last year. Now, it's only 1 volume so far, but he says there's going to be more, and it is teen plus because of the violence. Now, if you don't like violence towards animals, maybe skip this one. Now, it's all the story of the main character named Orphan Mo, whose master is telling her about the 5 people that he trained. Now, these 5 people went astray and became evil and took all the martial arts that he taught them and used them against their own people. So they've kind of taken over the world. So now when he dies, he leaves Orphan Mo the task to go and take down these 5 beasts. In the first volume, though, she only fights 2 of them, maybe 1.5. We don't really know if the second one was a true beast, but the freaking fighting styles and the violence, oh, it's so over the top. It is ridiculous, and it's all about the fight scenes for me. There are some slow down times, and the character designs are fun to look at, but when they get into fighting and you see the blood splatter, you see the guts, you see the insanity of some of these character designs just in action, oh my gosh, it is so well worth it. I can't wait to see where he goes from here. I hope he really comes back and revisits the world. Because, I mean, we still got 3, maybe 3.5 more beasts to kill. So absolutely recommending it if you like that over-the-top violence that you just need to have. Again, teen plus for sure, just because of the gratuitous violence in here. Ash Volume 1 by Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti, and this is published by Event Comics. And I said Volume 1, I almost corrected myself saying, I think this is it. And I really do think it, because Event Comics is done, and I don't see them going back to this character at all, especially now that Joe is making movies, and Jimmy's doing his own thing with his wife Amanda. But this was such an interesting time for comics, because this is during that time when the exit of Marvel Comics came, so people were making their own publishing companies like Image Comics. But instead of going over to Image with their character of Ash, they decided to make their own company called Event Comics. Now, there were a couple of other people that made their own comics for events, and then, of course, it folded just because books weren't coming out on time, and I think that was one of the biggest issues with this. But I love talking about the artwork. This is my favorite time of Joe Quesada. This was my favorite art. This is right after Sword of Azrael, right after X Factor, and oh my gosh, it's this beautiful just mashup of Alphonse Mucha, Sam Keith, George Perez, Arthur Adams, Will Eisner, with the flair of that anime with the colors mainly, and of course Jimmy Palmiotti inking. Like, those guys were meant to work together, and they just put out so many beautiful things. So Ash, the story is pretty simple. It's about a firefighter named Ashley Quinn, and he goes into a fire one day. He gets burnt to a crisp. It's horrible. However, when he wakes up at the hospital, he's completely fine, and he can turn into this superhero named Ash, who can make fire and cause fire and can take intense heat, like 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. The plot is simple, and you don't get told a lot through here. There's actually a character that appears through here. What's his name? Covenant, who was created by the Hildebrandt brothers, and you can see the painted artwork with Joe Quesada's art in there. But it's all about the art for me. The art is what did it for me. And I mean, that's what half of the medium is here. When we're talking about graphic novels, it's about the art. I would have loved to have seen this in a big, oversized format. Like I said, this is my favorite era of Joe Quesada's artwork. So, sadly, story didn't really wrap up, didn't really go anywhere. If you can find it cheap, I definitely recommend it. It's been long out of print. Actually, where I picked it up like at a dollar bin a few years back. But 100%, it's one that I don't really hear anyone talk about. But if you remember Ash, leave those comments down below. Especially if you remember the good memories. Not so much about the story, but how great the art is. Oh, and one more thing. This is definitely one that is probably teen. And it's all in this trade paperback. I think the character later on appeared in Cyberforce, and there was talks by James Robinson of doing a second series, but that never came to be. There were a few more issues after this, but those haven't been collected, unless you know of them. And if you know of them, send me an email. Let me know where I can find it. All right. Joe Hill's Reign. It's a story adapted from a Joe Hill story by David Booher and Zoe Thorogood. And this is published by Image Comics, available only in hardcover format. And this is the first time I saw Zoe Thorogood's artwork. We just did a journey to the center of the, or not journey, It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth on Old Reader, New Reader. And I really enjoyed that book. That book probably will make it in my top 10 reads this year. I mean, I've got a lot more reading to do, and we're only in February. But I wanted to bring this to people's attention. This is a beautiful drawn book. Oh my gosh. This is the first time I saw her artwork, and she had a very anime style mixed in with European style. Kind of reminds me of Ken Nakamura, I think, the artist on I Kill Giants. I loved it, though. And the story in here is rather sad, though. So this is the story of Honeysuckle Speck and her girlfriend, Yolanda. They're about to move in together, and it's a clear day, and out of nowhere, these dark clouds come in, and something hits her shoulder, and her shoulder starts to bleed, and she notices a little crystal shard. And a bunch of shards start coming in and just ripping through the city, killing all the people just about, including her girlfriend and her girlfriend's mom. And oh my gosh, it's so horrible. So they don't really know what caused this. So it's up to her and then this little boy named Templeton, she calls Temp, to go on a journey to go and tell Yolanda's father about his daughter's death. So it's a journey of not just really self-discovery, but finding out what the heck happened, what caused all of this. And do you get answers in here? I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but I really enjoy this. It's a dark read. It's a powerful read, because along the way, she learns to trust people, and then she shouldn't be trusting other people. So it's all a journey about who to trust, who not to trust when we've gone through some kind of apocalyptic event. Because this crystal rain did not just happen where she was in, what was it, Boulder, Colorado. It happened all over the world, and it's still happening. So the crystals, those big shards from the heavens, are still coming down. And 100% recommend reading this. It's a beautiful read that should not be missed. It just came out late last year, so it is still widely available. And speaking of widely available, if you need some of these books, check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the hidden gems for the month of February of 2023. Let me know in the comments down below what you think I should be checking out. If you've read any of these books, if you liked any of these books, if you're like, no thank you. How dare you, we're talking about Ash, dang it. But anyway, leave those comments down below, smash that like button, check out our Patreon. It's a great way to support the channel if you can do so. But that's it for me. Everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.